that, or felt that there were a lot of people who were homeless, a lot of families, and they got together and this whole thing began. And the churches, Jewish, Catholic, Protestant churches banded together, and this is what has developed. Different churches are housing these folks for a week. Chris is going to speak to us tonight. She is a social worker hired by the Interfaith Hospitality Network, and she works with the people during the day. They stay with us at night, but she works with them during the day. And she's here to explain our role as volunteers. Chris
Thank you.
Dogard.
Dogard, yes. It's Danish, and it has all these vowels in it when you spell it, so don't worry about it. I just go by Chris. It's so nice to see all of you here. I have been so excited about this program since I was hired. We actually opened our door to our first guest on January 25th, and I'm already turning away families. And that tells you the need. I was amazed. I was amazed at the number of people getting evicted February 1st and people losing. We also have our first baby in the network. I think we might have made a record for that. I'll have to check with National. Trinity was born February 3rd, yesterday on my birthday. And via C-section. She wasn't due until the 12th. But there was complications set in. So baby's fine. Mom had to have 2 surgeries. So we're all kind of praying. I spoke to Mom several times today. Wonderful, wonderful young woman. Everyone wants to adopt her. And she's 23. She's not that young. Oh, thank you. If anyone else needs to sign up, I'll just leave it on the table. So after we're done, when you come up to pick up some guides, you can sign in. So anyway, it's a wonderful program. And what we're here today to give you an idea of what to expect, what's expected of you, and a little bit about our program as it's standing today. Right now we have 2 intact families of 4. But what gets complicated, one of the families expands to 5 or 6 on weekends. Then we have a mother and daughter, and we have a mother and toddler coming in. And like I said, I just turned it down a family of 6 because we didn't have enough rooms. And hopefully one of her families looks like they might have an apartment for March 1st, so we might have room. These people have an idea or a picture of homelessness. How many people ever go to New York City or see the homeless laying on the grates and stuff like that, or around Port Authority? Children are the hidden face of homelessness. And just as I was saying, the amount of referrals I got opening up on the 25th just amazed me, because I knew there were families that were homeless. Anyone who works in the field knows that. But it's, you know, families who have lost their jobs, had a lot of people working in retail. Their hours went to 40 to 10 to 0. You know, and if you work in retail, you don't make that much to begin with, so your unemployment is nothing. People who have had surgeries and had all these medical bills, lost work, and then went back to work and just couldn't catch up. These are the types of situations that are coming into my office. Veterans. One of our referrals is a vet, referred by VetWorks. So when I sat down and had dinner with these people today, it was like going to a relative's house and sitting and just talking about school and about the songs. There's a young man that's around King of Kings all the time who plays the guitar. He's teaching the kids songs and they're doing performances. And we were just talking like you would around any dinner family. So as volunteers, you know, what the guests will expect of you is you're their host. You know, you're welcoming them into your home, and this will be their home evenings, you know, for a week. And you're serving them meals, and they appreciate all the meals. And, you know, you're spending time with them unless they want private time. And you're just recognizing them as families, like a neighbor. It's really a rewarding volunteer opportunity. It's getting to know new people. getting to know these kids. These kids are wonderful. One of the things that to keep in mind, our youngest, other than the baby that was just born, and the toddler's coming in as a 10-year-old girl. And it was Monday, I think. Her mom was stressed out. I was stressed out. The other mom was stressed out. It was one of those days that what can go wrong does go wrong. You know, we were, before the kids got back from school, we were just kind of sitting around talking about what went wrong at the post office, what changing addresses, what went wrong at the job, those normal adult things. And this little girl came in and she was so upset. She tends to talk a lot, so she mentioned in school that she was homeless, and now the kids are making fun of her, the school's threatening to call DYFS. She is beside herself. Now, since Mom's stressed out, Mom is also beside herself at this point. So I started talking to them, and you know, we just started a conversation and got to know the little girl a little bit. I just met her because it was Monday. She had come in over the weekend. And she was the sweetest thing. And I said, do you like to do posters? And she said, yeah. I said, I have no artwork in my office. My office is so dreary. Could you make me a poster? And she just perked right up. She already knew where the craft stuff was in the day center. She went and got that out, and she perked right up. And it was getting close to dinner time, and I wasn't going to do dinner with them last night, or Monday night. So I was getting ready to leave, and she came up and she gave me the most sincere hug and said, I'll see you tomorrow. And as I'm driving home, I'm thinking, you know, I'm stressed out because this isn't going right, this schedule isn't going right. There was a lot of things that go wrong when you're trying to set up this program, believe me. You know, and this little girl whose whole world just crumbled, the world that she knew has just evaporated, had the compassion to give me a hug. And it just made me feel so wonderful. That's the compassion that I hope all of us who work in this program can give back. It was the most wonderful feeling, you know. And then the next day was my birthday, and there was a baby born on my birthday. So it's like God is blessing us with this opportunity to do such wonderful things for families that their whole life has just been turned upside down. I don't know if any of you can imagine yourself in that situation where your rent just went up $1,000, or your mortgage went up $1,000 because some guy just sold you this really bad mortgage, and it looked good in the beginning, and now all of a sudden you can't afford it because your job just laid off 50, 100 people, and you were one of them. You know, and the panic and the anxiety and the embarrassment. You know, the family that came to me today didn't come 3 days before they were evicted like the other two families, so I didn't have room. You know, that they have pride, and, you know, they want things to work out. The men want to support their families, the women want to support their kids. And it's just a very stressful experience for them. So as we welcome them into our homes, and each congregation becomes their homes, you know, keep that in mind. Some of the basic guidelines in helping to do that is don't ask questions. You know, they went to a Super Bowl party, and kind of when you talk to other people in your congregation who know these families are going to be homeless, you know, and they ask anything, you know, just kind of pass the word along. There was a Super Bowl little thing at King of Kings on Sunday, and the volunteers knew not to ask questions. But the families were invited, and they sat down, and the first thing someone asked them is, well, how'd you get to be homeless? You know? Now, these are great folks. They accept it. They have met such wonderful volunteers, and they're prepared that some people, you know, might not understand or things like that, but it was one of the first things. So, you know, speak of awkward moments. If they want to talk, they'll talk. And they're pretty open. The families we have right now are really pretty open. You know, one woman went to work today, and she works at retail at Kohl's, and her hours are increasing. They dropped down to 10, now they're back up to 18. And she was saying to a coworker, she goes, I'm homeless and this is what I'm doing about it. And the coworker said, oh my goodness, I couldn't imagine that. But she says, you know what, this can happen to anybody, and people need to know. They need to know. So the families we have right now are pretty open, they're pretty cohesive, and hopefully they'll be moving out in the future and we'll be able to accommodate new families. But the basic guideline is let them, just create an open environment where they can come and they can talk. Feed them well. Okay? Except, you'll get my email about this, the one family who might have a place in March, he's a vet, he's trying to get back in the military, and he does not look heavy. He's tall, a little over 200 pounds. He needs to lose 16 pounds to get back in the military. So I've been letting all the congregation just have a big salad option, some low-calorie option, plus the 10-year-old girl who just gives the best hugs in the world is on a weight loss program at school. So, some sugar-free desserts and things like that are helpful. But usually, folks are into the comfort food. It tastes good. It makes them feel good. It helps them relax. Anybody in here planning on doing meals? Okay. Try to keep it simple, basic, not using a lot of spices. One of our woman has allergies to onions right now. So if you're making something with onions, say a meatloaf, my suggestion is just keep a little meat separate where it can be a hamburger or something. And seafood. No one's probably making seafood, but those are the two allergies right now. Chicken, rice, potatoes, pot roast, stroganoff, any of the simple basic meals. And they'll just go wolf it down because I watched the meat today and it was wonderful. So don't try to get fancy or anything, just try to keep it simple. Remember too, kids can be picky. So if you're making something like, my husband's specialty is salmon with 2 sauces. My husband loves to cook gourmet food, and it is wonderful. And kids actually love it if they eat it, but they look at it and they say, yuck, So these kids are the same. They say yuck. We have a couple teenagers, so they have big appetites. A couple men, they have big appetites. And I think it's nice for, not necessarily the people who prepare the food, but for a couple of the volunteers to sit down and have dinner with them. You can ask to do a prayer before dinner. The families we have in now, I don't see where they would object, but if they would object, just let it pass. One of the husbands is kidding his wife right now about praying, because she started praying a lot. And but she says, you cope how you cope. I believe in the Lord, and I believe that prayers will be powerful. We're not here to preach. We're here to show our love of God and our faith through our actions more so than our words. So that's something important to keep in mind, that your actions speak a whole lot louder than words. I remember I was a kid, and my mother literally dragged me to church. Anybody have that experience as a kid? And you know what? People acted so nice in church. And then after church, you knew these same people in the neighborhoods and stuff, and they were not really nice people. So what did I listen to as a kid? Did I listen to the nice things they said in church? No. I listened to their behavior outside of church. So our behavior tells people who we are, what we believe, how strong our faith is. And that's what people will leave, will remember. And that's why some of these women have started praying, I think, because the door's been open, to the sanctuary, to people of faith. And they're listening and they're seeing the goodness that our program of interfaith hospitality is bringing them, and the respect and the kindness and the compassion and the hospitality and all that stuff. One of the things that comes up is transportation. Our woman who's no longer pregnant, but our pregnant woman, even though we don't have transportation in the network, we don't have the resource, I accept a person who doesn't have transportation. And it's been working out so far. The families right now are willing to transport her. you know. But if a situation happens in United Methodist in Tuckerton, they actually, a couple volunteered to provide transportation for the week. That was their volunteer duty. This is something that is totally, people have different car insurance and stuff like that. But the way Carol Marchand from Pennsylvania said, if you would take a neighbor to the hospital and without thinking of your insurance, it's the same type of thing. Okay, if you don't feel comfortable, if someone needs to go to the hospital, which hopefully won't be the case right now, we've hopefully gotten that taken care of. It's your choice. You know, you can call an ambulance, you can offer to drive. You have to do what you feel comfortable doing. But Mark and John from United Methodist, well, they're not in United Methodist, they're a support congregation, and I apologize to them for forgetting which one. They were so strong, felt so strongly about Family Promise not being able to provide transportation that they volunteered to do that for their week. Any questions so far? Everybody's still awake? Everybody's still interested and excited about doing this. It really is great. So don't ask a lot of personal questions. They'll talk. Don't preach. Just show by your actions. Keep food simple. Flexibility tends to be important. You're going to have a schedule, and I think your schedule is up here. And dinner's going to be at 6. Okay, well, we have a couple of women who work retail that aren't necessarily going to be here for dinner. Okay? Or something may come up where they plan to be there for dinner and they call at the last minute, and, you know, something came up at school with one of their kids or any number of things. So just be flexible as you would with your own families, your own life. Steve Ranson, who's the coordinator for King of Kings, keeps saying, okay, flexibility seems to be the key here. He'll be on the phone with me, flexibility. So it's important, we want to make sure we have rules, you know, and that the families are compliant with the rules. But because people work evenings and kids have school activities sometimes that go on to the evenings or things like that, flexibility will get you far. Whenever you're scheduled for the last week of the month, like the last few days of the first day of the month, this is when flexibility really will come into play. You're going to get a call the week before you accept your guests, and you're going to be told how many families, the ages, the allergies, all those types of things, so you can be nice and prepared. And then evictions hit. And so you were planning for 2 small families, and so we have room, and all of a sudden you get a call, oh, by the way, so-and-so with their 4 kids will be coming in on such and such a day. Don't panic. They understand. They're flexible. But that will happen, or that seems to happen around eviction time. Other than that, have games for the kids. You'll know the ages. Things like what congregations are doing is doing like little welcoming baskets of maybe toothpaste, soap, things like that. Don't bring in a ton of donations, because if your congregation is anything like King of Kings, you don't have any place to store it. What I'm going to do, if a family comes in and say there's a child that needs clothing or an adult that needs clothing, I will email the coordinators and say, looking for donations, child's 12, girl, or whatever. And that way they can email their volunteers. If anybody has anything, fine. If they don't, fine. Desserts are welcome, you know. So the other thing too, at night, the family prepares or in the morning for breakfast, they'll also prepare their lunch to take with them to the day center. So whoever's doing breakfast has usually been providing the lunch materials for them to take. And it's been running smoothly. As chaotic as it is the end of the month, the program's actually been running smoothly. We haven't had any problems. The people are wonderful, the volunteers are wonderful. And I'm just amazed at how smoothly it's run. I don't know if you had that experience in the, but you know, God willing, it will continue to run smoothly. What can go wrong will go wrong, but they're little things, you know. They're the little things, they're not the big things. So, I don't have enough. There's some guides for volunteer hosts. Okay, they're put out by the National Family Promise. And like I said, they're guides. They talk about the schedule. They talk about some guidelines just for respecting and listening to guests, welcoming them, ideas for meals, supplies that you should have on hand, that type of thing. Okay, everyone is so informed here. They don't have any questions. I'm surprised. Okay, what happens, since you don't have any questions now, when you start getting guests and you have questions, call your coordinators first. They'll call me. Okay? So speak now or forever hold your peace.
What's the sex of the baby?
She's a girl. Okay? And her name is Trinity. And I have girl baby clothes. I'm looking for newborn clothes, though. Great.
We're supposed to have 2 people here at all times. What happens in the middle of the night if a person has...
You take a pregnant woman to the hospital who's not supposed to deliver, the other person stays.
It's okay to have one person here?
Yes. Everyone's screened for criminal behavior, for substance abuse, for mental illness. Now, I'm sure at some point in time someone's going to, slip through the cracks, but I've actually screened people out for one of those or more of those things. So everyone's screened. They're adults. The adults know that they are responsible for their children. Okay, even as teenagers, my first family outside of the pregnant woman had 2 teenagers, and she worked. I wasn't sure when I first got the phone call if he was coming into the program, but I knew that she worked sometimes till 9, 10 o'clock at night at Kohl's. I'm saying, okay, these kids are old enough to be left alone, but they're not allowed to be left alone, and it's not the volunteer's responsibility. So the problem was solved because he's unemployed and he's there. So they are responsible for their children. If they ask another family to watch their child for a half hour while they run to the store, that's acceptable. They know not to ask volunteers. Okay, now if there's an emergency, then that's where the flexibility comes in. But they can ask the other family to watch their, keep an eye on their 17-year-old for a half hour when they run to the store or whatever. 17-year-old actually has his own car, so, he goes and does his thing and then comes home at the appropriate time. On Friday and Saturdays, we've been extending his curfew, okay, because he's a normal, healthy 17-year-old. So what he does at King of Kings, they lock the doors at 10, okay? On Friday and Saturday, he can stay out later. He has a cell phone. He calls his mom or dad to open the door. And that's been working. There's been no problem. He's not a substance abuser. He's just a normal South Ocean County kid, if everyone understands what I mean by that. He's not like a Toms River kid. He's a South Ocean County teenager. You look like you have a question?
No, I was thinking.
Okay.
Unusual, but I'm thinking.
Yes.
You said that the doors are locked at 10 o'clock. What if there's a smoker?
Then his wife, there's one smoker.
Okay.
His wife lets him back in. Okay? So he tries not to smoke past 10 o'clock. Because it's exhausting being homeless. I mean, they're up like at 6 o'clock. They're running the kids out. They're looking for work. They're looking for places to live. They're dealing with their child telling the whole school that they're homeless. They're going in and doing that stuff. And they're getting back sometimes just in time for dinner. You know, the one man's working full-time, 2 women are working part-time, but their schedules are all over the place. So I watch these people. It's exhausting. You know, they're pretty busy. So they're pretty good at, you know, being exhausted at 10 o'clock. As a matter of fact, Linda today, I didn't think she was going to stay up for dinner. She had just worked a long day at Kohl's without a break, even though she was supposed to get a break. And she was exhausted.
How is their health care handled? You know,
They're responsible. Everyone has a car except for the new mother, and the other families are helping out at this point. Like I gave the congregations the doctor's name and number for the new mother. Okay, any health allergies are sent to the congregation beforehand. Any health issues, if they're on medication, they know to ask you to put it in a safe place out of children's reach, you know, so in case they accidentally leave their pocketbook unattended, like we all do, a young child can't go in and take out medication. No one's on medication anymore. The 10-year-old just got off antibiotics, so she's fine.
if they have to go to the hospital, though, I think that's what Ann was asking about. What do we do about? You know,
Okay, if the family will probably take them. Okay, if they can't, like the situation with the woman where the volunteers actually took her to the hospital, or they could have called 911. They were nice. Volunteer didn't call me at 2:30 in the morning when this woman's water broke. They called Pastor Pat. I thought that was so nice of them. Because my phone constantly rings from, you know, the time I get up until pretty much I go to sleep. And so it was a volunteer who really didn't know me, and I guess she didn't think of calling the coordinator. She just called Pastor Pat, and he said, "Take her to the hospital, please." So she got in her car, scared to death that this woman's going to have this baby in her car because her water broke, and she couldn't go into labor because she couldn't push. They were afraid she was going to hemorrhage, which she ended up doing with a C-section anyway. So she's scared to death that this woman's going to have this baby in her car. And everything worked out okay, you know. But in a situation like that, if that was me, I would have called the doctor, I would have called 911. Just because I knew it was a high-risk pregnancy. But Pastor Pat's very kind and hospitable, and, you know, he said, well, take her to the hospital. So the volunteer did. But it's your choice. It really is your choice. You know, whether you call 911 or if you feel comfortable. Again, Carol Marchand, I think she put it the best. If your neighbor came over and said, my child fell down and broke her arm, can you take me to the hospital? What are you going to say? No, my insurance won't let me, or whatever you feel comfortable. So it's that type of, they're your neighbor for that week, you know. So it's that type of thing. Yes.
Should we have special food for the young children, like macaroni and cheese, or are they supposed to eat what we...
Well, I would just keep that in mind when you're doing the meal, to have stuff that kids will eat. You know, they've been eating chicken stroganoff, you know, so. Pasta? Yes.
Fingers, they all eat those.
I don't think they've been served chicken fingers. They've been served regular. Remember in the old days when the kids used to get home from school and Mom used to cook this dinner? You know, you had your chicken or your turkey or your meatloaf or your lasagna. They're actually looking for a lasagna this week. It's kind of like those old days. No one does that anymore, really. I'm sure there are families that do it, but it's so hard to do that. But that's what it is. They come in, they have this meal 7 nights a week instead of 2 or 3 when parents are running around like crazy. So it's really homey. And any of you want, stop up at the day center, trying to make that as homey as possible. You know, we have a couch, a love seat, plenty of games, tables to play games, do homework on, a refrigerator, a microwave. So it's getting pretty comfortable, even though we're operating on a shoestring. So if anyone has lots of money, by the way, and very little time to donate, to volunteer. Family Promise can use donations too. So those people with no time and money, you can contribute in any way that you feel comfortable doing. But I think you'll all enjoy it. I think it's very rewarding. You know, I've gotten more hugs, and it's just wonderful, you know, to see people who have had, you know, homes, had cars, had things, who've gone through situations where they lost everything, still are so appreciative that they give hugs, thank yous, appreciations, helping, because we're just starting out putting together our shelves. Someone's trying to help fix my donated computer that I'm locked out of because I don't have a password and no one can, he knows the back door in. But, you know, they are so giving, it's amazing. And it's amazing, you know, how giving all the volunteers have been too. It's just a very spiritual experience for me as the director. Exhausting, but spiritual. Yeah.
I have a granddaughter who wants to help with homework. I imagine then, from hearing your conversation here, that she would be going to the day center to help with that?
Yeah, or, you know, they leave the day center about 5 o'clock. So she can go to the day center, or she can do it if, you know, here. Oh, by the way, if anyone wants to bring children, you know, even if they're doing the overnights, children are welcome as volunteers.
Where is the day center?
At King of Kings, it's just right up on Route 9. It's not far from here. So, you know, the kids come in, they do their homework. They're pretty good about doing it. And, yes.
It seems to me that I was under the impression that they would be pretty much staying in this facility, but it sounds like it's going to be in and out all day long.
They come here around 5:30, depending on, someone might be working later, they'll come in later. They'll let you know pretty much what time they're getting off work. And then they stay until 6, 7 the next morning. And then they take the kids to school, they go work, or they come up to the day center where we work on resumes or looking for work or budgeting or a variety of things. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
you're welcome. Yes.
I have a friend that, you know, she used to teach how to do hair, and, you know, she used to get haircuts, and she's, you know, willing to, you know, spend like a Monday night if there's.
Oh, they would love that.
I don't know what, you know, what the, you know, the rules on the privacy rules or whatever, you know, she was asking if she's willing, she goes to one of my homebound patients too. And,
Yeah, that's wonderful. She would just be a volunteer, just like anyone else. She would volunteer to do a particular service, you know? So they would love that. They really would.
Is there a maximum amount of time that they may stay in this program?
Not really, not really. Every 30 days, when they come into the program, goals are established of what they need to do. And so every 30 days they're evaluated. Are they doing what they need to do? Are they looking for work? Are they, you know, looking for housing? Getting hooked up with any benefits they may. And as long as they're doing what they're doing and supposed to be doing and showing progress, they're extended for 30 days. The length of stay nationwide has, the average length of stay before was about 90 days. It's gone up to 6 months with this economy. So that means there's families that are staying quite a bit longer than the 6 months and families that are staying less. So it's going to vary. It depends on the family's resources and what type of income they have coming in and a variety of things like that. So you may actually get them and 12 weeks later have, you know, maybe one of the families that you had 12 weeks before. I'm assuming with the new mother that she's probably going to be in a while because I'm not having her look for jobs and housing right now. She just had a C-section, and before that she was very pregnant when she came in. So her goals are to recuperate, you know, to make sure she bonds with her baby, and then she'll do that. She was working before. Like I said, she had got laid off after the holidays along with quite a few other people in. She worked in Sears, so yes.
After they have dinner here, there'll be a TV, or do they watch a movie? And if they do, is it up to the audience to tell them what they can watch or what they can't watch?
Yeah, the parents are responsible for the children. You know, they're very good with the kids, you know. So if you guys have a TV here at night, they'll love it. They'll love it, because King of Kings really doesn't at this point, and we don't have one set up in the day center. Like I said, we're operating on a shoestring, so.
Kind of an answer for your question. We actually have 2 TVs and 2 VCRs. So we're kind of hooking it up like a children's area where we have Veggie Tales videos and those kind of things, and then we have more appropriate older viewing videos on another corner,
Yeah.
you know, so that the little kids be one space and the older people and the adults can be in another space.
Yeah, as long as the parents are responsible for keeping an eye on their kids. Kids do get upset. The 12-year-old boy, his first night hid in King of Kings, so that was quite interesting. He hid under his bed, but no one knew where to find him, you know. And today he was bubbly. He came in, he showed me this book report he was doing, and just really comfortable and seems to be adjusting well. But when they first come in, you know, especially with kids, you can expect, if you see a kid acting out and they're new to the program, it might not be because the kid normally acts out. It might be the stress of the whole thing. So, and you should have the 2-year-old toddler, and you'll be the first congregation to have that. I'll let you know, he's very active. He's very active. When I was doing this screening, there was nothing in my office but boxes from the computer that doesn't work. They're sitting there. So he's playing with the boxes. And, you know, it wasn't the safest thing, so I asked his mom, does he like blocks? I went out, I got this big thing of blocks, appropriate for 2-year-olds, big blocks, where you just put them together and they snap right in. And he was really good at that, very coordinated, doing it real well. When we were done, he put the blocks in, and he carried this big thing that was almost as big as him back to the room where it came from. I keep pointing the way because he couldn't see over this. He has this big tub of box, plastic tub of blocks in his hand, and trying to peek over. It was really cute. Very active 2-year-old. So, blonde, cute, is getting speech classes already. Like a lot of little 2-year-old boys don't speak clearly. He's one of them. But he seems bright. He seems bright. But you will be his first. So this is going to be strange for him. He's going to come in, and don't be surprised if you can't find him for a few minutes, you know. And because he seems very active and very bright and creative. So it'll be interesting to see how he reacts. Sometimes kids don't sleep well at first. Okay, elementary school kids don't necessarily need to be up at 6 o'clock. So if you notice that, and the child comes home from school because they got up at 6 o'clock, because that's what our schedule says, and they come home exhausted, I'm making the recommendation, let the child sleep and let them catch up a little bit. You know, it's an adjustment. If your volunteers have to run right out to work, that can't happen that particular night, but just keep that in mind. When a child looks exhausted the night before, maybe letting them sleep in an hour won't be the worst thing in the world. You know? Anything else?
So far, how has breakfast been going? Is it a pickup thing? And
They run in, they grab the Danish or the cereal or the fruit, and they run out, yogurt, whatever, and they run out. Okay, Saturdays, the families, what we've been doing, again, there are guidelines, every congregation does its own schedule, letting them sleep in a little bit, having breakfast around 8, a regular, you know, cooked breakfast type of thing. And that also does me a great favor, because since I'm working on Saturdays, I don't have to be at King of Kings at 7 o'clock in the morning, because I won't be there at 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays. I might be crawling there the rest of the day. So it works out well. It gives them a break. They can relax, because really they're running around very hectic in the mornings. Like anyone with kids who go to school or babies and work and all that stuff. I don't know how families do it anymore. It just seems very hectic.
And so far, what about lunches? Are most of them packing lunches?
What they'll do, yeah, they'll pack their lunch here in the morning.
But most of them are doing that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they take it to the day center. Or, you know, if they're going to work, they'll take it to work. Yeah, the idea is what we want to do is, you know, the people who are working, one of their goals is to save as much money as possible. You know, this gives them a chance for a fresh start. By saving money, you know, for a security deposit, getting some of those old medical bills or old bills taken care of, hopefully they'll succeed in their next place. So we want to try to help them do that. But so they know that they're not supposed to go out and buy lunch, that that's not good budgeting, that they pack their lunch and they take it like all the family members.
It's like someone was asking you for money or anything.
You say no, no, and I really don't see that would happen. I could see an emergency,
Right.
okay, but not just for money.
I had a question. The new mom, is she nursing or bottle feeding? And if bottle feeding, what kind of formula? So
I don't know yet. I'm almost positive she's bottle feeding, because when we discussed it beforehand, she was going that direction. And the baby was bottle fed for the first 24 hours because she had went in for a second surgery and stuff. So I'm almost positive, and I don't know the formula. You will know that. You will know that. Yes. So I try to give as much information as possible. You read your emails, right? Because I've been trying to email.
I'm back online.
Okay. Yeah, I try to email it and, you know, just give it detailed, let you know if there's any birthdays coming up. Except for mine, I didn't let people know that. Except the baby was born on mine, so I had to talk about it. That's just so thrilling to me. I feel like a grandmother. Yeah, it's, you know. Can you imagine, we opened our doors on the 25th, she came in on the 28th, and we had a baby on the 3rd. All happened real quickly. Okay. What? She's 23. So she, her culture is, she's 50% Sioux, and the culture, I asked her what culture she most identified with, because she's 50% Sioux, like 25% Jamaican, and then there's some Russian and Italian in there, and she identifies with the Native American culture. That's, her name is Kwahana Rain, which means sweet rain. So, and that's her whole first name. I don't give people last names out because you don't have a need to know that. And that's just the way the network works. But Kwahana Rain is her full first name, beautiful name. Except everyone calls her different things. She told one family member, just call me Q. You know, she's getting called Kwan, all kinds of things. So, but very sweet person, very sweet. So we have a vet, we have a Native American. We're going to hit all the little check boxes on this data I have to keep. And just a group of lovely people. And if you have problems, who are you going to call? Gladys, please stand up for everybody. And if she can't figure out who she going to call?
I'm going to call you.
Yes, yes. You know, because most of the questions, you know, sometimes have to do with the congregation or things. And I might just say, call 911, you know. One of the things, I don't know, do you guys have a volunteer dentist?
Yes.
One of my little girls has a hole in her tooth. I believe it's a 15-year-old. If you could check with the dentist and see if they'd like to volunteer in that way. I won't say anything and just get back to Gladys. I just ask, it doesn't hurt to ask. You know, I'm just asking all the congregations, because she doesn't have dental insurance, so. Okay, anything else? It's been wonderful, and I'm sure I'll see plenty of you guys, because I'll stop in for dinner one night, you know, stop in and visit. You have a great facility here, so I'm sure the families will be quite comfortable. And all the volunteers have been great. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. I think she has given us a little bit more insight as to what to expect from us as volunteers. I'm going to give each of you a schedule that I have made up of every... I'm going to give each of you a schedule that I've made up so far. There are a few holes in the schedule which we have to fill. Look at it and make sure that I have made no mistakes. If I have your name down in the wrong place or anything, please let me know. But we have phone numbers for people doing food preparation and for serving. So there, a lot of times there's like 4 people there. So 2 people can maybe make the main dish and somebody else can bring a salad. Somebody else can bring a dessert. So there's just not 2 people providing for 18 to 20 people. But look at it and make sure that your name is on right.
Can I just add one thing? I know I'm not on my, so Gladys might want to stay close to me. One of the first things that the volunteers should do on Sunday when the guests come in is to orient them to the facility. Give them a tour, show them the rooms, let them know what the rules are. Okay, what time the doors are locked, where the bathrooms are, you know, what, if there's any room that's off limits, they should know. If there's any services going on in the week, you might want to inform them so they can choose to attend or not to attend if there's anything open to the public in the evenings. But that's real important when they first come in. Okay?
Good, okay. So get back to me on that schedule. The other paper is Interfaith Hospitality Network, a hospitality code. And this lists some of the things that she spoke about, like not using, to learn their names. We're going to have name tags. Barbara King has worked up with Stacy a name tag which will be in plastic, which we will wear, which will help them because then they don't have to try to remember everybody's name each day because the volunteers change each day. So Bonnie is going to be in charge, and you'll probably see her a lot. She's going to keep a log. This is a name tag that we're going to have. Bonnie's going to keep track each day of the volunteers that have come in and helped out. And it'll be interesting at the end of the week to look back at this log and see how many people have volunteered. I think there's well over 60 people from this congregation who have volunteered to help in one way or the other. And I think it's fantastic. And that doesn't even count the people who have brought in all the things off the board, the sheets and the towels and the blankets and all those other things, the food items and such. But this hospitality code, read over that when you go home. We don't want to label people. We don't want to say, oh, the homeless. It makes it like them and us. We don't want to do that. And like she said, we don't want to ask personal questions. And anything they tell us is confidential. We don't want to go spreading it around to everybody that we meet. Oh, did you know that this person? And we don't want to spread that. And then it says on here, to knock before entering. These rooms will be their bedrooms. During the day, their possessions will be in there. At nighttime, if they feel they've had a hard day or distressed day, they may want to turn in and just be by themselves. So we don't want to barge in their room if we're out here in this room. We should knock before we go in. And then also, And she mentioned this. Everybody has a bad day. And sometimes things are said that, you know, we think, why did she take off on me like that? But we have to realize that that person may have had a bad day, and they really didn't mean what they came out with, what they said. So we have to forgive some of those things. And then we're going to offer to play with the children, tutor them, but the parent is in charge. Always ask the parent first if it's okay that we play a game with the child. But make sure you read through this after you take that home.
And what I try to do as far as games is that when I'm letting the congregation know ahead of time who's coming, is if I know what the kids enjoy doing, to let them know that. Like I had sent to King of Kings when they moved to King of Kings that, you know, or when St. Mary's, I should say, where they're going next week, that Ayla likes artwork. She likes to do posters and stuff, and they like music.
There's just a couple of things I want to go over while we're here tonight. Our board is pretty empty back there of the items that we needed. We still need like 3 mattress pads. If anybody sees them, I understand Target and Walmart are sold out because St. Mary's needed mattress pads. Any other churches, that's where they go. So if you're in your travels, if you see mattress pads, just pick up a couple.
Are they from twin size beds?
Twin size. And also we could use some of the liquid hand soap for in the bathrooms. We're going to need a package of infant newborn diapers just to have on hand. Things for breakfast, orange juice. If you're just out and about during the day and you think, we're here, pick up a gallon of milk and drop off, because we have teenagers coming here and we don't want to offer them soda all the time. So we're going to be offering either juice or water or milk. And you know, if you had teenagers in the house, how much milk you carry in a day's time or a week's time. In the desserts, those who are cooking, we're asking that you kind of limit the sweets. We don't want to fill them up with cakes and pies and heavy sweets every night. Think about fruits, maybe puddings or even Jell-O, fruit salad, things like that too once in a while. And we want to offer salads for people and fresh vegetable. Sometimes kids will not eat what we're serving, but they will eat fresh vegetables so that they can just pick up and eat.
I mean, like bags of carrots and things like that?
Yes, things like that that they could eat.
On that note, Gladys, as we find things, should we just come here and bring them here?
You can. If you see something on sale and you think they could use that, you just dropped it off, and then that night they could be put out for the, and even for snacks, because if we have teenagers, if we feed them at 6 o'clock, some of them by 9:30, they're going to want something to snack on.
Oh, 7:15.
Yeah, 7:15.
Some of the dads too.
We need somebody with a van or a truck that has a trailer hitch. It's a covered van that we have to haul the beds, is that right?
Yeah, it's a trailer.
I mean, a covered trailer.
Yes.
And that will be coming here on Sunday afternoon, the 15th. They will deliver the beds. Now, Kyle, Mary, and her husband, and some of us, and if anybody feels they want to help, about 2:30, I'm going to ask St. Mary's to bring the beds to us. And then we need to set up each room, make up the beds. And then the people will arrive. What time do they get here?
On Sunday,
Yeah.
around the same time, about 5:30, 5:30. And I'll try to let you know ahead of time if either the women are working late that day.
Okay.
You know, might not make the first dinner, but what they've been doing when they've missed the first dinner, they just make them a plate and, you know, they can have it later.
Mm-hmm. And don't forget, the night before is the Valentine's spaghetti dinner. So we really can't do too much as far as setting up anything till they're finished in the kitchen, getting all our supplies out and ready. But if any of you can come, we'll set up the rooms and then set this room up the way we're going to have it for the week. We need a couple of people for overnight. We need a couple of people for breakfast. And you can see on that schedule. And if any of you can help, I know Jeff volunteered, and Bob Ramsey volunteered overnight, and Debbie volunteered overnight. So we'll have enough when we get there.
One more overnight.
Pardon?
I can do Tuesday night also.
Tuesday.
Yeah, for Thursday, but I can also do Tuesday overnight.
Tuesday overnight? Yeah, see me afterwards and I'll get your name down. Good. I told you about the name tags. And I think that's it.
The camp chairs, we were going to ask for camp chairs.
Does anyone have the camping chairs, you know, the canvas chairs that you sit in? You go camping and they fold up in a little thing. They're a little more comfortable than a straight chair.
That we could borrow, just so that you don't have to sit in
Habitat
here.
for Humanity might lend you an actual living room set for your week.
Would they bring it? We'd have to pick it up.
Frank Happel made arrangements from United Methodist, and they were actually said that they could go from church to church. You can either call him direct, or I can call him to see if they delivered it or what. But it was real comfortable. They,
Yeah.
you know, they delivered a couch and two chairs as loaners for the week.
Because now Jean has big pillows that we'll put on the floor for like teenagers to sit and watch videos or something if they want to, or play a game on the floor. And we do have blankets that we can put out and they can sit on. But for an adult, after working all day, to sit in a chair like this and watch television, it might be uncomfortable if we had a little bit more comfortable seating.
What about the fold-up beach chairs, so that, not flat ones, but, you know, I've got a couple of those.
Yes,
That kind of
yeah,
thing.
something like that would be all right too. Anything else? I think that covers my list.
And I will check with Frank for you about how he, you know, got his furniture. from
Okay.
Habitat delivered.
Okay.
Because they had said to him, you know, you can just keep passing it around, but then King of Kings, since the day center's there and I gotten, you know, furniture for there, they didn't need it, so I will talk to him.
I know they have delivery them.
Yeah, so they might deliver it.
Yeah.
They're very kind.
I just want to say again, thank you everybody for volunteering and for coming tonight. A lot of folks can't come. There was a lot of different things, something at the middle school and some sort of a game tonight for some of the kids, a wrestling thing. So it'll be on the video or on our church site that those who are not here can watch the whole program. I hope all of you have a real good experience, a real good time doing this, because these are the dates for the next time. So April 19th to the 26th and June 14th to the 21st. We think, oh, well, that's a long way off, but we just about get done, and we have 2 months to get ready for the next time.
And the 2-year-old, if he's still in the program, will be 2 months old. Just keep that in mind. I think he's going to be a handful, but he's cute.
But those dates are coming up, and we have to be prepared for those too. Any?
Do you have the menus again? You had menus picked
Oh,
up?
I forgot to bring those.
Okay, well, I'm sure Evelyn and Joe.
I'll bring them on Sunday and get them to you. But again, we will get to you folks who are preparing the meals, but we pretty much know how many we have now.
Yeah.
How many we're going to
Yeah,
have.
you're not quite the end of the month, so you should be in good, yeah, you will know because I don't have any room at
Right.
this point for anyone, so you will
Okay.
know.
Okay. Any other questions?
If you're a part of the overnight team, do you bring any, like, sleeping bags or anything with you, or?
Yes, for the overnight, we have beds for the
Yeah,
overnight people.
There's 2 beds. If you bring your children, one family brought their 7 kids, they brought sleeping bags with them, so
Yeah, we're asking if you bring your own sheet and your own pillow, your own blanket, because otherwise we'd be changing linen each day. And we have the linens that we need for the other beds, but if you bring your own for overnight, okay?
And the guests will bring their pillow with them. They won't, the pillows won't come with the cots, they'll come with the guests.
Are the beds marked with their names?
They should be. I've
Okay.
asked people to do that, so hopefully,
Okay, so that these folks, when they move from church to church, will be sleeping in the same bed in each church. Their name will be on the end of the bed. Anything else? I think it's exciting. I think it's,
it is. It's really a wonderful experience. I think you'll
okay?
yell at me about the 2-year-old, please.
A lot of families are bringing their kids, so I'm sure.
Yeah.
A big thing of blocks worth. If you don't have that yet, you can borrow it from the day center. It was perfect.
Okay, I'd like to close then for the evening. Again, thanks for coming with this prayer. We live in the abundant comforts of a warm home, O Lord. Forgive us for taking your daily provisions for granted. We know you love all whom you have created. In your mercy, Lord, give your daily protection, care, and provision to the homeless and the less fortunate. Lead us to share, even sacrificially, with those who need it most. Open our hearts so that we may share what you have given us, that through us, others may be sheltered and fed. In the name of Christ our Savior. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks all for coming.